Hi, I'm Ashley Mazurek. Today we're going to talk about doctor movement. We talked about breathing, and we've talked about thoughts of how to consciously breathe. Now we're going to talk about and focus on what happens when your body has repetitively gone through the process of breathing shallow. It stresses the neck muscles on the front side of the head and neck. And what happens over time is due to that shallow breathing, these neck muscles become very tight. So I want to focus on today doing stretches or movements to release these overly tight muscles that have happened over time. And a lot of people get head and neck stress due to stress at jobs or emotional stress, and these muscles can also become very tight for many other reasons. So, addressing what happens, you get a forward head. When you get into a forward head position, we're going to focus on stretching the suboccipital muscles, which are the muscles that run just underneath the cranium and attach the spine. And then these muscles that are located right in here, anterior and then medial to the head and neck, are the scalene muscles. And then we're going to also address the levator scapula, which is the elevator of the scapula, but also gets, when the shoulders elevate, get really tight. And then we're going to address the sternocleidomastoid, and they get very, very tight. So several muscles. I'm going to give you 3 stretches that should get all of those. The first stretch, what I want you to do is focus on bringing your body into an anatomical position. So with your shoulders externally rotated so that your palms face in front of you, externally rotates that shoulder, lifts up that first rib, and appropriately sets the head in its somewhat neutral position. Well, that neutral position is when the ear sits over the shoulder. So trying without trying too hard and overly contracting muscles to do it, I want you to try to pull that head in that normal position, which is ear over shoulder. You're going to take your non-dominant hand and you're going to place it at your chin. This particular position is really just to allow you from falling forward with the chest. It's to keep your chest up, and you're going to use that hand to help pivot your cranium on your cervical. You're going to take your dominant hand and you're just going to address that at the base of the cranium, and you're going to tilt this forward just like so. Hold the position of stretch. Take a deep diaphragmatic breath and do that 1 to 3 times while holding the stretch. And what you're feeling for is you're feeling for, with the breath, the muscle to stretch on the inhale, and then as you exhale, releasing the muscle. And you're feeling for the muscle to release. You're not going to get a lot of movement from that particular stretch I just showed you, but what you're feeling for is the tension in the muscle to release itself. Now, let's go into the next stretch. It's lateral flexion. What you're going to do is go back to that first position with that external rotation from the shoulder, lifting up that first rib, pulling that head back into its anatomical neutral position, and you're just going to tilt the head laterally or to the side. And you're focusing on pulling the ear to that shoulder while maintaining that shoulder in a depressed position on both sides to feel this stretch. And then what you're going to do from here is just hold it and then breathe. You're still focusing on 1 to 3 breaths, and you're going to stretch both sides. And if you don't feel any lengthening or stretching happening, then don't stretch it anymore. But you need to stretch both sides so you have a comparison and a contrast to whether or not it feels tight or not. Typically, one side on a body is going to be tighter than the other. Maybe not a lot, and for some a lot. But still do both sides to evaluate yourself. Next, we're going to go into the levator scapula stretch. That particular muscle runs from the cervical, 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way down to the scapula on the superior medial portion of that scapula. So, to address that, you're going to take your arms like we've started before, and if I were to stretch the left side, you would tilt the head to the right. You would rotate the head so that it's in the midline of the chest, and then you would flex forward or down and then hold that stretch. When you hold that stretch, breathe 1 to 3 times to release that muscle. The big, very important note when you're stretching your head and neck muscles, it's very important that you be very sensitive to these muscles because they're highly proprioceptive, very sensitive. And so the idea is that when you're stretching them is to think on a scale of 1 to 10 that you only go to about a 4 when you're stretching your head and neck muscles. Thank you for joining me on my session today with Dr. Movement, and enjoy these 3 stretches that you're going to now combine with your conscious breathing patterns and to relieve any tension that you might have created over the years through stress or your faulty breathing pattern. Have a great day.